All right, we're back here with episode 5 of the Illuvium Rundown. This is going to be an exciting one. We have Vetemor coming on for a call, but we're not going to talk too much. We're going to get right into it. So our first topic here is going to be the Overworld, an Overworld update. I know there's been a lot more coming out. Stuff's coming out each and every day. Well, it seems like it's each and every day. But there's a lot of new stuff for the Overworld, some new builds. So what do you have for us on that one?
Yeah. So the Overworld's coming along pretty good. They've done some great leaks, Andrew and Grant, in their weekly show there. Some of the main things, so it looks like the blockouts are almost complete. So we saw Crystal Shores and Shard Bluff recently. Grant kind of took us through those levels a little bit in the blockout stage. So those are getting towards the finish line there. And then we've seen previously Taiga Boreal blockout. They're well past that now. And Taiga Boreal, that's like the biggest level in the Overworld. And to see that through blockout, and now they're kind of putting some polish on it and getting more of the minor details in. That's always good to see. And then, we got Crimson Waste. That's pretty much completely done, which is really, really good to see. Sancta Mesa right there with Crimson Waste. Then you got like Abyssal Basin and some of the others that are, they're just, they're plugging away. So like the Overworld in general right now, we're seeing some great progress. And like, I think hopefully soon, I mean, we keep saying it, but like soon, hopefully we're going to see a little bit of like private beta play on the Overworld.
Yeah, I think we are getting it soon. Again, we do say that all the time. I did have a recent AMA with Kieran. They definitely don't want to be throwing out dates, but I tried to push a little out of him. I said March 2023, could we be looking at the open beta? And he was kind of hesitant, but said like around that time might be a good estimate. So if they're thinking that sometime in the spring we might be getting that open beta, then I think the private beta is going to have to come out soon because they're going to need to get, input from the private beta players, fix bugs. There's going to be a lot that needs to get done. So yeah, I think it's right around the corner.
Yeah, and I saw like in this most recent leak video, they had like a little bit of the obelisk looking pretty cool. Like that was a new leak for us. Like Things are coming together in a way that we haven't quite seen yet. A lot of the fine details are they're starting to shine through, so I'm excited.
Yeah, especially in the showcase shows.
The Illuvium showcase.
If you're not watching those, you're definitely missing out on a lot of what's coming.
Yep.
This past episode, there was a lot of stuff with the Overworld, stuff that's just going to be, like eye-catching. There's even, Grant said in there at one point, like, there might be an animation that you start skipping over time, but just, it's almost there for the first few times you get into it, or say you're a new player, you're not too sure about Illuvium, you jump into the game, you see this crazy animation for a loading screen, and it just gets you excited to play more.
Yeah.
So after time, we might say like, we're just gonna skip this 30-second loading screen.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's there and that they're taking the time to do it is gonna be great.
Yeah, it's like opening a pack of cards. Like you want the experience that first time to be memorable, and that's what they're doing. I mean, they're really like that. They're taking that to the next level, and that's what you need to do to really draw people in. And like you're saying, maybe after the 5th time you skip it. But it's similar to like Private Beta 1 when you had the match area just kind of come down with that giant Mozart to like kind of build the platform. I still remember that, and that's kind of the same feeling they're going for.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think I've watched that animation since the first week it came out, but I remember watching that being like, this is sick.
Yeah.
This is going to be great.
Yeah. And I remember thinking at the time, I'm like, oh, I'm going to watch this every time. And then, of course that doesn't happen. Yeah. You got to play the game, right? So
definitely.
But yeah, moving on. So the next thing we want to talk about is growth strategy. And it's been pretty interesting lately. We had Kieran do a Twitter thread. So he had actually pitched a growth strategy a few months back, and he wanted to share that with the community. So Nick, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I thought this was very interesting. Like you said, this isn't something new. This is something that he presented, I think over a year ago at this point, raised some capital for Illuvium. To look at the presentation itself and see how he was pitching Illuvium is really cool. So some of the things I'll put these up on the screen for anybody who didn't see this on Twitter. But the first slide here, we have a brand positioning, and then you can even see with this Venn diagram here, they're looking at what does the customer want. Obviously, we're all on board with that because we're the customer. What does the brand do best, and what do the competitors do? It really is a perfect scenario there. They're looking at what they can do best, how they can do that better than their competition, and what us as consumers really want.
Now, if I had to look at this Venn diagram, I'm saying what the customers want. We want a really cool game similar to Pokemon at a AAA level. I think check the box there. What your brand does best. Now they're really taking it to the next level. I think we're good there. The brand is coming. The plushies are coming. Everything's coming. So we're good there. And compared to our competitors, I mean, nobody's even close, in my opinion. Yeah. Now, maybe there's something out there that I haven't seen in the Web3 space, but like in the space that we're in, I just haven't seen it, right? So I think we can check all three of those. I think that's where we're going.
And I think we will get that competition, but not anytime soon.
That's right.
Like if Star Atlas does what they think they're going to do in 10 years,
10 years, yep.
Maybe, but it's a long time before that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So another thing that he had in this slide is partnerships. And building brand partnerships is big. Some of the ones that they're with is obviously Synthetics, Chainlink, 1inch, KuCoin, Sushi Swap. But yeah, the more partnerships they can make, then they're really just expanding their exposure, to and the consumers those products.
Yeah, they've actually done a really good job of branching out. I know we have like the Halloween contest with Travala and Immutable X, like working with those guys. Obviously, Immutable X is a huge part of Illuvium, but like they're growing these partnerships. GameStop is a good partner for them as well. So they're just growing from a marketing standpoint in that way too.
So here they have capital raising and growth, and they're choosing a diverse range of VCs and even influencers. They're always trying to raise capital, get new people involved to build out this game. So this is one that I really like, the influencer slide, because obviously I'm an influencer here for Illuvium. You can see some of the ones that they teamed up with early on are Jake with On-Chain Gaming's, Elio Trades, and if you remember, I think at least On-Chain Gaming's, they had an NFT giveaway that was an NFT made like a promotional NFT made specifically for his channel and Illuvium. That definitely brings people to Illuvium. I'm sure there are going to be people who see those NFTs that didn't know much about Illuvium. They want to get their hands on one, so they join the Discord and they see if they can get one.
Yeah. I mean, the main like strategy for Illuvium, like you have the traditional marketing with like Andrew, and like then you have the portion of Kieran going on all the different AMAs. He's reaching different communities in that way, and then you have guys like us who are just like doing this stuff for free because we're crazy, and we just love Illuvium, and you get enough of us out there also promoting it organically. And you can build a monster. So that's a good strategy. It's kind of like a 3-tier strategy there, and Illuvium's hitting on all cylinders with that.
Yeah, and it looks like they also want to reach out to like celebrities and sports stars. You can see just with Bulldogs, they already made a partnership with Bulldogs.
Yep.
If you think of what like FTX did with Tom Brady and Steph Curry and all of them, that really helped their brand. So it'd be great to see, especially Tom Brady. He was our quarterback here in New England.
Yeah.
But yeah, when someone like that gets a partnership with Illuvium, it's gonna be nuts.
Yeah, I know. Kieran was talking to one of the content creators in a recent interview, and he was saying there is potentially someone pretty huge. He couldn't obviously say who, but like it sounds like we got someone down the line here who's a celebrity who could be pretty massive for Illuvium, so we'll see.
Community growth is a big part of what they're doing. That's pretty obvious. If you're in the Discord and watching these the showcase shows, everything that they're doing, they're building up a community and a strong base right now. The next bull market, that community will blow up, I'm sure, but you need that tight-knit base to get started with, and they're clearly doing that.
Yep.
And then education, they want to be the platform that brings Web 2 gamers to Web 3.
Yeah.
So the more education they can do to get those players onboarded, the better it is for the whole crypto community. Yeah, so that's it for the growth strategy. Again, that was about a year ago, but it's nice to see what is going on behind the scenes and what they're thinking about, the stuff that they're talking about.
Yeah, it's really cool to see how Kieran's thinking about things. He obviously presented that to some folks and got probably some good feedback, and he's really trying to go with that strategy. But moving on, the next thing we want to talk about is, well, we have Vetemor coming on soon.
Yep.
And he's a part of the council.
Yep.
And so I want to learn a little bit more with DAOs and the IIPs. We've heard Kieran talk recently about, anyone who has an ILV token can make an IIP. So it seems daunting, right? Because there's so many people in the community.
Yeah.
And it's like, you put an IIP, is it really going to get passed? Or can someone with one ILV really make a difference? So what are your thoughts on that?
So in my recent AMA with Kieran, I asked him all about this. And I'm not going to lie, I'm a little skeptical on if it really could play out the way it supposedly can. Kieran confirmed to me that, first of all, anyone can make an IIP, even if you hold, I think what he said, 0.00001 ILV.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone can make an IIP. If that IIP gets traction, it can go to a council vote. And if the vote passes, anything in the game could happen. I asked him to what degree we could actually change the game. And his response is that anything can be changed. They had always had that joke of the dating simulator. But I actually just had a little idea on this. And what if we made an IIP that the whole community can get around? Some small little change, but just to see if it could get passed and it could work. I think that would give a lot of confidence to the ILV holders. What if we decided we want to make Atlas's nose red?
It's almost Christmas.
Yeah, right?
Alice the reindeer, right?
Something small like that. But if we made an IIP that just said, let's change Atlas's nose to red. It doesn't have to be that. Something that we can all get around. But see how far we can take that and see if we can get it passed by the council. Just to show us that we do have a say in this game. That would give me a lot more confidence.
Yeah, I think something basic like that, the community sees that, and it's like something a little silly, but like, yeah, it'll show that you can make a difference. I think if I wanted to put my own IAP up, and maybe I will, I think we have too many linkses, man. I just think we have too many linkses. I think we need to cut down on the linkses. So if I were to make an IAP, that's probably what it would revolve around. And one, that'll take a little bit of work off the plates of the team, because you don't have to worry about as much fur. I mean, you guys are crazy for doing 31 linkses. That's a lot of linkses. And I can't keep track of them all. So I think the average player. But yeah, if that would be an IIP I would make. So who knows? Maybe we'll throw something out there and see if it sticks.
It's funny. I was just brainstorming some IIPs in my head, and I thought of one that would make more linkses.
More linkses?
Yeah.
All right.
When you get to that stage 3 links, they each only have a base affinity. So what about we make an IIP so we fuse 2 stage 3 links together? Say we have a water link, and I forget what they're called. A water link and a fire links.
Yeah.
We fuse those together, and now we have a steam links.
Well, let us know in the comments if you want more links or less links. But yeah. I'm team less links.
Right. But I do think that as a community, it would be cool if all of us, like influencers and community members, just got behind an IIP and just to see what we could actually do.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what happens, but maybe people will start to speak out a little bit more. It's kind of a quiet time right now, so it could be a good time to introduce something.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're actually about to have Vetemor on, like Ramsey just said. He is part of this council, so he's going to give us a little more insight on what goes on as a council member and, how we can actually make a difference.
Yeah, I got to refrain from asking him about linkses, so I'll do my best.
All right. Vetemor, nice to see you. Thanks for hopping on the call here.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
I like your jersey you got on there.
Yeah, yours looks good too. Where'd you get that from?
A little place called Illuvium. They were having this sale for the Bulldogs. They sponsor it.
Boom. I'm surrounded now by Bulldogs jerseys. I'm a little jealous. I don't have one myself, so I should have jumped on that. I'm regretting it in this moment.
You missed out. You missed out. Yeah. So we just wanted to ask you a couple quick questions and then get you on your way.
Yeah.
So
Go for it.
Ramsey, what you got?
Yeah, so Vetemor, I'll start us off. So, dude, first off, like, your videos when I first joined Illuvium maybe a year and a half ago, that was like the first things I watched. So, thank you for being there early. I think it was you and Scoriox, and that was pretty much it at the time that I was diving into. So, very cool. But I'm just curious, like, how did you get started with Illuvium? How did you start making videos? Like, where did you like first hear about it?
So I think I was watching like Crypto Zaros back then. He just makes videos about like Bitcoin and like random crypto stuff. He does like daily updates, and I think Illuvium actually sponsored him. And I remember seeing Illuvium in the like bottom right or whatever of every video. And then I sort of got into Axie a bunch, and then I think it was what is his name? Like the crypto gaming guy, On-Chain Gaming, the one where they did the Flish giveaway, right? I legit entered the Illuvium Discord to win the Flish NFT giveaway. That's legit why I entered, and I legit entered from that link. And then when I got in, I don't know like what it was, but something just sort of led me to like watch a few more videos on it, ask a few more questions, because it was watching that video because it was like a Kieran interview, and I was like, dude, this dude passionate, you know. So we were on my like 2-week honeymoon in Spain, and I was just I like, bless my wife, she was super supportive, but I probably spent like 6 to 8 hours a day in the Illuvium Discord for like 2 weeks, just asking questions. And my conclusion at the end of it was like, this is deep, right? Because the deeper I went, the more questions I asked, the more I expected to find, oh, this is where it's shit, or this is where it's shit. But like, no, the deeper you went, the more solid the incentive structure was. It's just top to bottom, it's just pure. That's why we're still here, because it's just so damn good. Top to bottom, all the way through, Illuvium is the best project in the space right now, in my opinion. And I at that point, I was like, well, I've spent 2 weeks figuring all this shit out. I'm still finding new shit every day. Like I thought I'd like figure it all out within a few days. I didn't. I still was learning new things 2 weeks in. So I was like, I could make a video putting all this information together, and that's where I made my Illuvium tokenomics video. My very first video was legit just an intro to the channel, because I had the intention to make a few videos just to explain things to people, just to make it easier for the community. I wasn't like expecting to become anyone in the space or any, like, I legit just wanted to help the community, and that's where it's all pretty much started. And that Illuvium tokenomics video to this day is my most viewed video, even though looking back at it, I'm like, I kind of want to remake it because the quality is jank. I was legit just on a laptop just doing a PowerPoint, like that's all it was.
Yeah, so I give you and a couple of the other creators a lot of credit here, because I feel like I was actually aware of Illuvium before anybody else. Like, I knew about it before the token even came out, but it took me a little while to jump onto the content creation thing. So you definitely got a little head start on that, but I'm catching up. I'll catch up someday.
There you go. Yeah, dude, and shout out to your wife, man. I mean, to be doing that on the honeymoon, like, can't believe that. I was on my honeymoon in July. I don't know if that would have fly.
I mean, yeah, big shout out to her. She was super supportive, and I did take her on another holiday to Santorini, like 6 months later, because I was like, yeah, no, we need something that's kind of just for us. I'll promise not to spend more than like an hour on Discord a day or whatever.
Yeah. Awesome. So my question for you here. So obviously you started as the YouTube creator here in for Illuvium. What made you want to become a council member? And then now that you are a council member, what are like your roles and responsibilities?
So what made me want to be a council member? Like, the biggest thing was that I actually felt like I represented Illuvium quite well. I represented its community. I felt like not just that people knew who I was, but more so that I got the community, and I was also in a position where I don't have very like extreme opinions. I'm a very empathetic person. So whether even if somebody's disagreeing with me, I can play complete like devil's advocate and just assume that they're correct and like really go through that direction. And I felt like there wasn't that many council members at the time that could really play both sides, and I wanted to bring that kind of balance in and that kind of community perspective. Once I became a council member, I kind of begun to understood like why some people on the council could like end up being a little bit more rigid. But I've done my best throughout, like just to stay as open as possible. What is it actually like being a council member? It's really weird, just because you're in this really weird position of I'm here obviously to do the community's work and to do everything for the community, but then at the same time you're in this weird position where you're not allowed to communicate directly with the community about a lot of the stuff. So all you can actually do is garner community sentiment on certain subjects, like to a certain extent. So you're in this weird, like, where your hands are sort of tied, and you have to do a lot of the work behind the scenes. And then the community thinks you're probably trash because you're not doing anything publicly. But then the community thinks that about Illuvium these days as well, because everything that Illuvium's doing at the moment is behind the scenes. Illuvium's doing almost nothing publicly nowadays compared to before. There's a lot of leaks and stuff, but it's not like the nitty gritty of operations and development, you know? And that stuff is all behind the scenes. And what I found the most interesting being a council member is the disconnect between community sentiment and the reality of what's actually going on with Illuvium. The reality being there is a shit ton being built and coming, and they are polishing really hard, and shit looks insane. And the community just, like, because if there's nothing released publicly, like, people don't have an awareness of that. That's why I've done my best to try and bridge that. I remember, like, the last interview I had Kieran on for, I did my best to get him to answer the questions that, like, just everyone's most gagging for. Those like hard, difficult to answer investor questions, because I really want the community to understand that even if Illuvium isn't saying anything, and even if there are delays, that's actually beneficial to you as an investor. And the reason is, like, someone like Framework, like the big guys, they're legit, like, they want Illuvium to delay as much as possible, because the bigger, the better the product that Illuvium build, the bigger their bags are going to be pumped at the end of the day in the long term. And that's where the vision's at. If you believe in Illuvium in the long term, and I'm not a trader. I don't invest for the day and flip it the next. Maybe I'm a trader when it comes to like NFTs, but when it comes to Illuvium, I'm invested as in the fundamentals of the project, and I think they're rock solid, which is, not financial advice, but like I invest in fundamentals generally speaking, and I think the fundamentals are solid.
Yeah, I think we both agree in that regard. Like we've both put in hours and hours of research. We've looked into it like you have with a fine-tooth comb, and I think we've both come to that same conclusion. And like you were saying earlier, that's why we're all here. So yeah, Illuvium is just on another level compared to pretty much any other crypto project out there. I think we've all seen that. And if it takes a little bit longer for things to come out, if there's some delays, that's okay. And at the end of the day, when the game does come out and the product is spectacular, no one's going to remember the delays anyway. So that's how our mindset is as well.
Yeah.
Also 99.9% of the player base of Illuvium currently has never heard of Illuvium. That's the thing, right?
Yep.
Nobody, like, because the only people here right now are like investors for the most part, a very small community of gamers that aren't invested, that are actually looking forward to the game, just because it's an investor space. And that's the other side of it, is Illuvium. If you're an investor right now, you shouldn't care about Illuvium trying to make things nice for you, because you don't need Illuvium to be good to you. You need Illuvium to be good to gamers, to the consumers, because you've invested in a business, and if the business succeeds, the customers and the consumers need to be happy, not the investors. The investors will be happy if the consumers are happy. So there can be any sentiment amidst investors. If the product launches and it's a success, it speaks for itself.
Yeah, Illuvium right now, it's like that indie band that has the cult following before it's gone mainstream. That's where we're at. And I love it. I love being a part of like the smaller community right now. There's a lot of fun to be had with that. But one day that's not going to be the case, and it's just going to be mass adoption. It'll be a totally different feel. Yeah. But I get it.
So one quick little follow-up question on this. Do you think in the future going forward, whether it's you or somebody else, do you think it's important to have a content creator from the community be part of the council?
Honestly, no. I actually don't consider, like, as a council member, I don't consider myself the content creator council member. I consider myself to be the community member council member. Like, if you know what I mean, because I don't think that I represent content creators as well as I represent the community. I know that Vulcan came on as a council member for an epoch, and he legit was like, actually, this isn't for me. But then that's because he was more interested in the game rather than the economic tokenomic side of it. And this sort of brings us to governance version 2, which is something that we are seriously working on right now. The next epoch is probably going to be the last, like the voting's probably happening in like a month or so, like at the end of this month. But like the next epoch that's coming, that'll be the last epoch of Gov V1. And then it might even be cut short just to bring about Gov V2. And that's going to be very different, where it's actually going to be multiple different groups of councils. You guys are going to find out about that very soon. We've been working on this IIP a ton. Big shout out to like Daraji and Amosatas. They've put in a ton of work. Rich has been like the man behind it all. He's done an absolutely amazing job. And I think that's gonna really change how people perceive a lot of stuff, and it's gonna clarify a lot. And I think it's a better system to actually allow community sentiment to actually reach the top. It's a better pyramid that actually is more cohesive, I believe, than what we have right now, and that's why we've been building it. But it's all been behind the scenes.
Awesome. Well, whenever that does come out, maybe we'll have to have you on for another show, and then you can
That'll be a pleasure.
Talk about that with us. But that's it for today. Thank you so much for hopping on, and we'll catch you next time. We'll stay in touch.
Next time, boys.
All
Peace.
Right. All right. See ya.
See ya, Vetemor.
All right, so that was a great call with Vetemor. Can't wait to have him back on. But now let's move on to this spooky alluvial Halloween contest. Illuvium actually went more into this than I expected. They changed their little Discord symbol, which actually thrown me off a little bit. A couple times. I looked for that normal ILV symbol, and now it just looks a little darker and
orange.
Scarier.
It's orange.
Yeah. So I'm sure they're going to be changing that out, maybe to a Christmas one soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they did that. They made a couple images that are towards Halloween. I think they all look pretty cool. But then they threw it out to the community to make their best Halloween alluvial or spooky alluvial. They had, I think, 5 or 6 options for an alluvial.
Yep.
And you had to go in and make it spooky, make it a scary thing for Halloween. In a minute, I'll pull up the submissions that we both had ourselves. Yep. But what can you tell us about this competition?
Yeah, so first off, I think this is a great idea. I think anytime you can get the community more involved in this way, it's always good. And it was a lot of fun creating. So I went out and created a Tatopy. We'll see that in a minute. But the options were Archie, Riptor, Atlas, Tatopy, and Kuka. And so you had to choose one of the 5 and create the best spookiest alluvial that you can. And the prizes are good too. So they're working with Travala, the travel company, and also with Immutable X. So we have 300 IMX tokens for some of the top prizes. There was a $50 Travala gift card there. And then these awesome Ray, the Red Panda alluvial NFTs.
Yeah, those
Some
promo
of them,
NFTs.
dude. Some of them are going to be holographic for like
Yeah.
the top winners, but I think the top 15 are going to be getting one of those NFTs. Super cool. We actually saw the NFT already. We'll post it on here as well. But Roger created it on Twitter, and it looks awesome. He's got like a pumpkin head. It's really, really cool. But yeah, so my submission, I'm just gonna get right to it.
Yeah.
So I did an It the Clown inspired Tatapy. And when I created this, I was like, dude, this is pretty good. I'm in good shape. Maybe I'll come top 15. And I submitted like October 31st, right on Halloween.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I got this in the bag. And then like slowly all these submissions have been coming in. You've been seeing them on Twitter, and they are just way better than mine.
Yeah.
So
I'll throw a couple of them up on stream. But yeah, some of these submissions that we're getting are really good. Like we have some real artists here in the Illuvium community. Yeah. It really looks great. What I put together, almost embarrassed to pull it up on the screen here, but I used Kuka. I turned him into like some ghosts. I wanted to get involved a little bit, but I knew I didn't really have much of a chance to win this competition.
Yeah.
The whole community thing, getting everyone involved,
yeah.
it really is great. I can't wait to see what they do in the future. I think something's coming for the Christmas seasons, for the holiday season.
Sure. Yeah, we're gonna have some cool stuff coming down the line. And just shout out Scoriox. He did a squiz. Edward Squizzerhands, love the name, and it actually is really funny. Squiz was not one of the 5, so I don't even know if you can submit that, but that was my favorite so far, Edward Squizzerhands.
At the time of this recording, the submissions are about to come to an end.
Yep.
So by the time you see this, you might have an hour or two to get a submission in.
You're gonna have to scramble.
Yeah, so it might not be enough time for you to really put together something good. Hopefully the next time it comes out, we can give you more of a head start on this if we know and you're unaware.
Yeah, just start making Christmas themed stuff. Just get a reindeer out there now. Just get ahead of the game, you know?
Yeah, pick your favorite alluvial, put a little Christmas hat on it.
Yeah.
So why don't we move on here? First of all, we saw ILV, or the whole crypto market, really get a pump over about a week ago, the past week. And we saw ILV pump 30%, over 30%. I think it was
over 30% in one day.
I
was following it pretty close. I think Bitcoin and ETH also did very well. I think ETH was up like 6 or 7%.
Yeah. I know out of my holdings, ILV had the biggest gains of that particular time frame. So that's definitely a good thing to see.
Because I was looking and I'm like, Bitcoin's back around 21,000. Ethereum was like 1,600, 1,650. And then you got ILV up 34%, I think, at the top. I was like, it hit like $82. And I actually did an article about it. I was like super excited. I'm like, let's go. Because like I know that's not going to last right now, but it's showing that there's some life in the crypto market. Like we've had this like long, and it hasn't been that long, but like 6 months of like a bear market. It's been kind of quiet. Even the volatility slowed down, but just to see that pop, it's like just a reminder, like, good times are coming. Yeah. Not financial advice.
Yeah, and I think since it went up that 30%, I think we got to about $78. Then I think it dropped back down to like 62. Yeah. But that pump gave me the confidence to want to buy more. So, because when this market really starts turning, I think it's going to be great. Not financial advice. We don't give any financial advice here.
Yep.
But that was just exciting about the coin.
Yeah, I mean, so GameStop was tweeting about Illuvium the day that the pump happened. So I think potentially maybe we got some like GME bros, some Wall Street Bets guys jumping into the coin. Who knows? Like those guys are following GameStop every single day. So the GameStop NFT Twitter account has like 100,000 followers. You know, maybe a couple of them saw that, jumped in a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that scares me. I don't want this to turn into a pump and dump
I know.
Token.
But, like, we are in the crypto space, and those things do happen. Yeah. So it's kind of hard to avoid that.
Yeah. I mean, in best case scenario is these guys get in, they see what an amazing game it is, and they actually buy and they hold.
That's the ideal situation, and I think Illuvium's one of the few cases where that actually could happen, especially, like, I'm sure a lot of those dudes are, like, Pokemon fans.
Yep.
Like, they get the concept, so, like, it's not that far of a stretch.
All right. So I thought it'd be fun to throw out some price predictions, just so we can look back on this and see where we're at.
Yep.
Let's give these predictions, let's say 1 year from now. Let's say Halloween 2023. What are the prices that we're going to see?
Yep.
So I want to go through not just the coins, but the land, Illuvatars, Illuvials themselves. Let's just see what we're thinking.
Are we gonna do rapid fire right down the line?
Yeah, let's go right through. So let's start with ILV.
All right.
What do you think 1 year from now ILV is going to be?
ILV 1 year from now. Got to factor in the macro economy here.
Yep.
Get my economist hat on. Really think about this. I think 1 year from now, I could see ILV. We got a game out. People are excited. Let's go $225.
225. I think that's a pretty good guess. Yeah. So when you're thinking of the overall like just crypto market, I think it's early spring 2024 where we're going to get the Bitcoin halving.
Yep.
And hopefully things start really pumping up from there.
Yep.
So 1 year from now, obviously, is before that point. I think the game will definitely be out. I'm very confident to say open beta will be out by a year from now. And that's going to bring a lot more people into the game, but it's not going to have that. We're not going to be to the point of mass adoption at that point.
Yep.
So I do see us going up about maybe a 3 or 4x from here, especially seeing what it could jump 30% in 1 day.
Yep.
I'm actually going to go a little higher than your prediction there, and I'm going to say we get up to $350.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's we very well could. I mean, it's there's obviously a lot of factors.
Yep.
We'll see who's closer. Price is Right rules. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right. So SILV2. What do you think about SILV2?
SILV2, 90.
90?
90. Yeah.
So for me, if I believe that ILV is going to get to 350, the SILV right now is about 55 to 60% of an ILV token.
Mm-hmm.
But I think once the game comes out, there's going to be a lot more buy pressure on SILV2 because people are going to be using that for in-game spending.
Mm-hmm.
So I think SILV2 could be about 70% of that, of an ILV token. So this is going to be horrible math off the top of my head. But if we have 350, I think we could be looking at a 200, 210 maybe for that SILV2. I'm sure someone's going to leave a comment about how horrible my 70% of 350 is.
Yeah.
But go easy on me. It's been a while since I've been in school.
You're bullish then. This is
I guess those are some bullish numbers.
Yeah,
even though we know that ILV hit close to
I know
1900 at one point.
Well, that's just the crypto market, man. That was the bull run, but those days are past at this point.
They are. Okay, so let's move on. A tier 1 land.
Yep.
You know, I'll start with that. I think a tier 1 land, the last time I looked, was about a third of an ETH.
Yep.
I think
I'm just gonna do it in ETH terms. Like I'm just gonna,
I guess
give an ETH
yeah.
price on this. We don't have to rack our brains. We're not smart enough to do all the math here.
I think some more of this land will get bought up when the main game comes out and there is earning potential. So I think we could get up to about half an ETH for a tier 1 land.
Half an ETH. That sounds good. I feel very similar. I think it's gonna be right around there. Like at that point, like Illuvium 0 is gonna be out. Like we're gonna be. I think it could even be a little higher. I'm gonna go like 0.75.
0.75. Okay. Yep. Now tier 5 land. We don't know when this is gonna come out. I asked Kieran about this too. He said by next spring it should definitely happen. At least the first 2 tier 5 should be out. So what do we think about that? I remember thinking back during the original land sale, like $1 million.
$1 million, yeah, that was always the number. It's like you got the sponsorships, like everything, like it comes in with it. It's you got the arena on your land, like.
I think that number is going to be probably a lot lower this time around, just because of the whole market in general. So I'm actually saying that a tier 5 land will be around 600,000.
Okay, I like that number. That's pretty good. It's a bit of a downturn, but I think the whales in the space, like they still understand the potential of tier 5. If they liked tier 5 6 months ago, they're still gonna like it now. Mm-hmm. And as the team progresses and things, I feel like they're gonna sell this land at the proper time.
Yep.
So I'm gonna stick with the $1 million. I'm gonna stick with it. Yep.
All right. In Atlas, You're playing the game. You jump into the game.
This is exciting now because now we're thinking about like actually playing the game and like being in the game. You catch an atlas, right? So
yeah. So say you discovered the game in October. You jump in, you play some free to play, and you're like, I want to get some alluvials. I want to buy myself an atlas.
Yep.
How much are you going to pay for that atlas?
Ooh.
This is tough.
This is tough.
A tough one.
So like I'm just thinking like, all right, so you have to like cure the shard, catch the atlas. How many shards do you need to catch the atlas? So like people are gonna think about it that way. How much time is it spent?
Mm-hmm.
All these things we have no idea. So I'll say 0.03 ETH for an atlas to start.
And I mean, what are we looking at? That's probably around $50.
Yeah. So
maybe depending on
if ETH's $15 right now, so $45, $50. Yeah.
Okay. So I've just from what I've heard, they're gonna have a low barrier to entry. I think travel is gonna be pretty cheap. Shards are gonna be pretty cheap, especially for the tier 1 regions. And Atlas is a tier 1 alluvial.
Yep.
It's gonna be a fan favorite for sure.
Yep.
But it's gonna be a tier 1 alluvial.
Yep.
It's the stage 1, and I think this is gonna be an alluvial that I think just Illuvium wants everybody to be able to get. So I think getting an Atlas will actually be fairly cheap. I think we might be looking at 0.01 ETH.
Okay.
And again, I don't know what that is off the top of my head.
Like 15
maybe
bucks.
15,
Yep.
$20.
Yep.
I think it'll be pretty cheap to get that Atlas. On the other end of the spectrum, Ramfire, a tier 5 alluvial.
Yep.
Regarded as probably the most powerful alluvial in the game at this point, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably going to be pretty rare. So you want to buy a straight out Ramfire a year from now. How much are you going to pay for that one?
Dude, so that's like a lot of time. Like, because the way I think about it, one, catching a Ramfire in the wild is going to be insane when it happens. And like, think about the Twitch streams if someone does a live. That'd be super cool. But like, I think the majority of them are going to be coming from fusing Ramfies together.
Yeah.
So like I'm trying to think like, dude, you have to catch
nine
Ramfies.
Ramfies, yeah.
You know, fuse them, Ramfire, boom. But like the amount of time it'll take to catch those Ramfies, the amount of shards to take. So it's like there's a lot that goes into this, especially like early on, and there may only be like 3 Ramfires. So I'm gonna say 2 Ethereum.
Ooh, okay. I thought my number was high.
Okay.
But yeah, so you went up with that. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so one thing that people have to think about is if you're just say a casual Illuvium gamer, but you still want this Ramfire, you can actually just buy a Ramfie and be able to use it as a Ramfire in the Ascendant arena. So the people who are just going to buy out a straight Ramfire are those who are really competitive, have a lot of money to spend, and probably going to be in that Leviathan arena really gambling and fighting for some ETH. So even though there's going to be less demand on people buying a Ramfire straight up, the people who do want that, I think are going to be willing to spend whatever it takes to get them.
Yeah, yeah.
What I was thinking was around that 1.25 ETH.
Okay.
A little lower than yours.
Yeah.
But I still think that when the Ramfire comes, there are going to be people who are going to spend really whatever it takes to get them.
Yeah.
And those are the same people who are probably not going to be spending a ton of time catching Ramfies in the overworld.
Yep.
They just want to buy it straight out so they can go into that Leviathan arena.
And think about how many people are going to get that Ramfire finally, fuse the Ramfies, everything, and then like how a lot of them are just going to hold it. They just want it, right?
Yeah.
So the market of actually the amount that are going to be available for sale, I think is going to be very small.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so one more thing for price predictions. Illuvitars. That's kind of hard because I know we have different tiers of Illuvitars. But let's just say a base portrait. What are we looking at? A base portrait from the first generation of Illuvitars.
Yeah, so I mean, if we're thinking about the basics, I mean, so the price for that I think is 0.015 if you're just buying the
Is it 0.15 or 0.25?
I think it's 0.15
Could be
and
0.15,
0.075 for the more I know it's been a little while because we've just had these delays in the
Yeah,
album.
and who knows? Maybe those prices will change by the time they actually get out.
Right, but like what I'm getting at though is like, this is gonna be wave one, set one, like the originals. So a year from now, maybe we'll have 3 sets out. You're trying to get these older ones,
Yep.
like the first set Genesis. I would say it could probably like triple or maybe a little more. So I'll
Yep.
go like, I'll say point for a base. I'll say 0.07 Ethereum.
0.07? Okay.
Yeah.
So that'd be kind of like the floor there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah, what I'm thinking is probably around that same price. I would say maybe, let's say 0.1. I think there will be a lot of them minted, but there's also going to be a much bigger player base who won't be able to get them themselves.
Yep.
They might be looking at, they might have the third Illuvitar sale, around this time next year, and there's going to be people in there who are just like, I want some of these Gen 1 Illuvitars. So they're going to pay a little premium for it. I'm hoping by that time I have an unopened disc from a Gen 1.
Yep.
I might be able to sell that for a little bit more.
I
I think that will go much higher than my 0.1 prediction because you never know what you can get out of it.
Unopened packs are king. Like if you have the control to not open a pack, it's always a good thing.
Yeah, awesome. So I know we spent a lot of time on price predictions, but I think that's going to be fun to look back in a year and see where we're at. But our final segment here is going to be the leak of the week. What do you got for us?
Yeah, so this week, I mean, the leak show, the Illuvium showcase, they did some really cool stuff. My favorite part of it, and I tweeted it out as well, the portal, the obelisk. It's about a minute and a half, minute 45 of just like going through that obelisk, and kind of the portal shoots up, and then you're off to another region. And it was just so cool to see that. All the animation around it, you see that obelisk like come out of the ground from nowhere, which we've seen before, but we've never seen like the ring around it with all the different lights and like lightning, and the Arlen's getting shot up into the sky. Like we talked about this a little bit earlier, but this is like when you're opening a pack of cards. Like when you're entering a new region, you're essentially opening that pack of cards. You're gonna find new Illuviums.
Pulling that slot machine, getting the bright lights, everything just to get you hyped up, get you excited.
So that's the moment where it's like, all right, time to get my game face on. I have like X amount of energy that I need to use, and I'm trying to catch like this Atlas that I haven't caught for the last like 2 days or whatever. And like it's go time. So like that's gonna be really cool. It's a great introduction for people to just like learn about Illuvium. Like if it's your first time playing and you're not like us and are watching it every single day, and you see that screen, that's gonna suck you right in. So like I'm really happy with the level of detail that they're going to on those types of things.
I'm already envisioning how that's gonna look. That the first time I'm gonna turn the lights out, get comfy. I'm gonna load up that screen. I'm gonna be cracking my Red Bull, getting ready to get in there.
A marathon.
And and maybe over time I start skipping those so I can spend more time in the game.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely gonna be watching those cutscenes, and especially the one that you pulled up here.
Yeah.
It looks sick.
Yeah. Yep. And like I was saying earlier, it reminds me of the PB1 screen, and maybe you watch it a few times and then you don't watch it again, but it sticks in your brain. Like you remember that. It's like that's the level of detail they're going to. That's what they're trying to just to show like how AAA this game is. They're really, really going all out for that.
Definitely. So what I have here is, it seems like it's kind of something that's unknown. This popped up in the showcase just a couple days ago with Grant and Andrew. And there's basically these orbs. We don't have the video of these yet. We just have the images. But they talked about this would be a visual actually moving around and flowing. And just look at how these look. And then I know we can all picture that orb flowing around. And the other exciting part about this is that it's another part of the game that we're getting introduced to. Mm-hmm. I think Grant said he doesn't even know what they're used for. Yeah. So he couldn't even leak that if he wanted to leak that.
Probably they probably did that on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, so we have the essence here. We have a haste. I don't know. Haste essence. We have the wrath. We have guardian. We have might, fury. I'm sure there's more on top of these 5.
Oh yeah.
one thing that comes to my head is like maybe when like in Pokemon, Eevee needed these stones to evolve to different things. So maybe you need these as part of the fusing process. Whatever they are, I think it's just gonna be cool when you find these orbs probably floating around in the overworld or hidden somewhere. And I hope these are things of value. You know, I don't want to see these everywhere. I want to be going around a corner, find this little secret space, and see this hiding in there, and approach it and collect it. You know?
Yeah,
Right?
and I'm looking at these right now, and I can kind of see that they've put a little bit of alluvial design in them. So like the Fury Essence, I'm seeing that fox a little bit. It's like the Fennec fox. I don't know what they call it exactly.
I
but
think
you
that's
can
my
kinda
favorite
see
one.
it.
Visually, that's my favorite
And then
one.
the Might one, I can see a little bit of like a Tattapi or Tianti in there. I think they did that on purpose.
Yeah.
And I'm just noticing this in real time right now.
Yeah.
But like, I think there's something to that. And I think, I don't know. When I look at these, I think they're like some kind of item that you can use to like supercharge your Earth Alluvial, for instance, or something like that in battle. Potentially, we'll see. But those have never been shared before. So like, pretty cool leak to see like how the rest of the overworld's gonna be. Because like obviously we're gonna be like there's gonna be orbs catching alluvials. You know, the plants are gonna attack you and try to kill you. But now to think that there's also these like orbs, and these are in 2D. They're gonna be in 3D.
Yeah.
Grant said that. They already look amazing. But like to have another aspect, another element in the game, always cool. So like really, really good job by the team once again.
Yeah. All right, so I think this is going to end up being our longest episode of the Illuvium Rundown, but it was fun. I think we're flowing more into this, where even if we had nobody watching these, we would probably still do this. And, I mean, speaking of no one watching these, Kieran said in the AMA I had with him that he's only watched 4 YouTube videos ever, and an Illuvium Rundown episode was one of them.
Yep.
So that was pretty cool.
So we at least have one fan.
And we got one fan out there. Like this, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Comment down below on some of the questions that we had throughout here. If the more you're watching this, the more you're commenting and liking, the more we're going to want to do this. And in the future, we might even add more episodes. We'll see.
But we also probably would just do this by ourselves.
We would.
It's just fun. We just have a great time.
Yeah.
But like, we appreciate everyone who does watch.
Yep.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Yep. Episode 6 coming in about 2 weeks. So stay tuned.